Hi guys, welcome back to our channel.
It's Dems.
And Nat.
Welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, we will be sharing with you guys what is childcare like, and also how do you apply for child tax as a new immigrant in Canada. Stay tuned. Now, before I get into the video, guys, I just want to share a little bit of information with you guys. So, if you are from an English-speaking country, you are not expected, in most cases, to do an English test before you come to Canada as a temporary resident. However, before you become a permanent resident, you have to do an English test. And the two recognized English tests are the IELTS or the CELPIP General English Test. There are many persons who have to do this English test before they even get into Canada, and luckily I'm from Jamaica, so we didn't have to do it. And the reason why I'm sharing this information, guys, is I recently did my CELPIP English test, and as you can see on the screen right here, I got a perfect score. I got a perfect score straight across the board, but they couldn't give me 12 in everything, so they gave. And I'm saying this to say I am not going to be doing a video to say, oh, do you get a perfect score, or do you pass your English test, but instead I'll share this information for anybody who's doing the CELPIP General or the IELTS English test, and they want any form of help, any form of recommendations. You can reach out to me in the comment section, or you can just look me up on Instagram, leave me a message, and of course I'll respond to this video, guys. We will be talking to you guys about childcare in Canada, and also how do you apply for child tax as a new immigrant in Canada. Many persons come to Canada as a family, which means that they came with their child or their children, and many persons have doubts like, what am I gonna do with my pitney them after we get to Canada, because you want to work, you want to go to school and all of these things. And childcare is a big issue for a lot of persons, which is why we decided to just do a quick video for you guys today, and hopefully we can use, as usual, use our experience to guide. Oh no, now before we get into it again, guys, I just want to say go and subscribe to our channel, leave a like, leave a comment, turn on your bell. This is a growing community. This is a community that is for you. In Canada, you have regulated childcare and unregulated childcare. Unregulated childcare would be like your babysitter or your nanny or somebody who come at your yard, can look after your kids for you, and that's unregulated. Regulated childcare would be like your daycare and your day home and stuff like that. But you also have what is called day home. A day home is qualified persons who open their home to a specific amount of children, right? So these persons are trained professionals, but they operate their business from their home. So in a day home, you can have like a maximum of 5 to 6 kids on an average at a time. And these persons are always regulated as well by a bigger organization, and then it's a network of people who offer this service, right? Personally, what I prefer, or what we prefer,
Is the day home.
Is a day home. That's what we used, right? And the difference between a daycare and a day home is the daycare is there's no really like a specific number of kids that can be there at a specific time. That's dependent on like the capacity of the building, capacity of the staff, kind of a thing. While a day home, you cannot have more than 5 to 6 child
At a time.
at a specific time in the household. And also, day home cheaper. A day home is cheaper, guys, right? We use the day home, and that's what we use, but there's also daycare. So probably Nats can tell you guys a bit more what the day home is like and how that really works.
So day home, you have they're placed in like 3 categories, like full-time, part-time, and casual. For the full-time, it's normally like $900, $700.
But we're talking about in Alberta, right?
Yeah, talking about where we're from and where we live, right? So it can vary from different provinces if they do have it. Part-time is like $600. It depends on the hours as well. If you use a certain hours, it will go over to part-time or full-time. And casual, where you just drop them off, you know that you're going to drop them off for 2 or 3 hours per day, for 2 days per week. It just depends on that. What else? They do include meals, so you don't have to pack your bag and carry. If you want to, you can, but they do include meals. Same education or same stimulation that they get at a daycare, you get it at a day home. it's like the same environment. It's just at somebody else home. It's just a home environment.
Home environment and less kids,
Less
right?
kids.
So the difference between the casual, the part-time, and the full-time is really the amount of hours that your child is gonna be there for the month, right? So if it is that you have an hectic schedule and you're like your job is not really structured and you don't really know when you're gonna get time off and stuff, full-time would be the option for you, right? Because you don't know, like, your child is gonna be there for most of the day. If it is that you know your schedule and you know, so boy, you gotta work this time to that time and you can work it out, part-time probably is the best option. And the thing is, with part-time, you usually get anywhere between, what we know in Alberta that we use, you usually get anywhere between up to 90 hours. I think it was up to 90 hours for the month, part-time. Anything over that would be full-time, would be considered full-time. And casual is 45, up to 45 hours for the month. So if you're in a casual contract with the day home, then you can use up to 45 hours. And all you use that 45 hours is, say, for example, you work the night shift and you keep a child throughout the night. But then you want to be able to get some rest from, say, probably 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Then you'll drop them off at 8 o'clock. You pick them up back at 11 o'clock. You know, you work it out. You mix and match that 45 hours with the day home operator to see their available.
You basically schedule it. You tell them in advance which day you're going to use them. So that's it basically.
You can't, when you're in a casual contract though, you can't just drop off a child randomly. It has to be scheduled and structured, like probably a week in advance. You let them know that for next week, these are the hours that I'm thinking about. It's not guaranteed. But a part-time or a full-time contract, it's guaranteed, right? That's the difference between that. We also would like to say, guys, that we are living in the province of Alberta, and whilst there are federal policies that govern all childcare straight across Canada, there's also provincial policies. So some province might have it a little bit different than here in Alberta, but a little variation here and there, but it's not going to be like, whoa, significantly different. And as Nat explained, like, childcare can be very, very expensive. As a new immigrant with children, childcare is possibly the most expensive expense that you'll incur.
If it's a daycare, it can go up to $1,000 or $1,000 something
per child
per month. So it depends, and it depends even on the age. I think the younger they are,
the more expensive it is.
So
right?
You have to
for us, we were using a casual contract and we were paying. Some months we use like you pay per hour kind of a thing, and it was like I think $8.50 per hour.
$8.50
yeah
per hour.
So it was $8.50 per hour on a casual contract when we were using it and stuff. So you can do the math, right? And get an idea.
Most we ever spent was like $300 and something per month. So when we have day off, like I have day off and he has day off or whatever, you know that Malika will stay home with us.
Yes, right. So we kind of flex with time to make sure say when are we there with Malika and when none of us are available, then that's when we use the daycare. Like, we're not gonna use the day home in order for just relax because it's very expensive. So we try to fix our schedule in such a way that we don't have to incur that additional expense too much. But some persons don't have any choice, right? So you have to be prepared for that. No,
before you go any further, even persons like international students coming, some schools do offer daycare for their students. So if you're coming, you can look into that as well.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. If you're an international student, what I know is that most colleges have a daycare attached to the college. So as students, you can get discounts, and you can also get probably subsidies from the college to supplement some of those costs, right? So you don't have to go to a private or like far out to kind of find daycare, right? You can just check with your college to see if this is something that they offer, and oftentimes it is something that they offer, and then you can maximize that as well. There's also federal and provincial subsidy that might be available for families who are struggling in order to pay for daycare. But the thing is, people, you have to be a permanent resident or a citizen in order to benefit from that. As a temporary resident, you're not qualify for subsidy, for childcare subsidy in terms of daycare. But whatever you pay for your daycare, keep your receipts, because when you're filing your tax return, you can provide those receipts and then you can get a tax deduction as a temporary resident, right? So in other words, it's almost like a pay in advance and then you get it back on a tax return time. So when you pay for daycare, you want to keep all your receipts. Any childcare expenses, keep all your receipts, because you can file for those on your tax return and get back probably not all of your money, but you do get some deductions off your tax returns, and it probably results in you getting back some money as well. So that's also very important, right? Yes. But here, a daycare or a day home is almost like a basic school in a Jamaican parlance. The kids learn, they are stimulated, and they are well engaged, right? And if it is that you're thinking of coming to Canada and you don't know like what age does my child start school and all of that, it really varies, but for the most part, pre-K starts at 4 years old and kindergarten starts at 5-year-old. If you have a child who is extremely smart in Alberta, what happens in the province of Alberta, and as far as we know, Alberta is the only province that does this, is if you have a child who's way ahead of their age limit in terms of their like one of those whiz kids, there are programs that they can be enrolled in for like 2 hours as early as 2 years old.
If your child is 2 years, 8 months old, that is when they're qualified.
Yeah, 2 months, 8 months old if they're extremely gifted, or if they suffer from a neural, not mental, but learning disability like autism or Down syndrome, or probably some other learning disability. Then they can also qualify for what is called a PUF program, which they go as early as 2 years, 8 months old, and they get stimulation in an effort to get them up to speed by the time they reach 4-year-old. So if you have a child who's extremely gifted or a child who's delayed, then and you're in the province of Alberta, then you can also consider that as well. And then who knows, that a 2 hour off for your child care money right there, so because it is paid for by the government and you don't have to pay for no money other than send some lunch to the kid go to school, so that is also important. If you guys, I'm sure that we're not able to touch on every single topic as it relates to childcare. So we have been here, guys. We have been here for a few years now. We came with a child. We came as an international student and as a temporary worker. We had to hit the ground running. We know exactly what you are worrying about, what you're thinking about. If you have any questions whatsoever, guys, leave a comment and we'll promise you that we'll answer your comment. Send me a message and we'll promise you that we'll answer, right? For anything that we didn't touch as it relates to childcare, any questions, concerns, or just general inquiries, just leave a comment and we'll definitely answer it. Now, child tax. And I'll tell you guys what is child tax. Child tax is a government allotted benefit for persons living in Canada who has children. And this is really in an effort to help families to support the daily need of kids, right? So this is just a subsidy in order to offset some of the living expenses of having children in Canada. Now, temporary residents do qualify for child tax, but you have to be in Canada for at least 18 months. And as Nat said, has status in the 19th month. So in other words, your study permit or your work visa can't be expiring in the 18th month, right? It has to be longer than the 18th month because you have to have status in the 19th month. Child tax is not retroactive, guys. It is not retroactive. It's not, okay, then I become qualified in the 18th month and then I get child tax for all the previous times. No, it begins on the 18th month when you're here, right? So you don't get retroactive, but you have to be here at least for 18 months in order to be qualified for that subsidy. That money is paid per child. So the more people have, the more money you get. That's a long and short. But the more kids you have, the less money you get per child, if you understand what I mean. So the more kids you have, the more money you get overall, but the more kids you have, the less amount per kid, per child. Yeah. So the amount that you get for child tax is not fixed. It's not a fixed amount. It depends on your family income. It depends on your income that was filed on your previous tax return, and it's reviewed every July, right? So you get federal child tax and you also get provincial child tax. Now, federal child tax is paid every month and provincial child tax is usually paid quarterly. right? The amount that you get for for provincial child tax depends on the province on the day, if that never obvious enough. Right? But I can tell you guys that Alberta is a beautiful province and is also one of the best provinces to live. Int, okay? Int. So just be qualified in the 19th month and be here for 18 months, and it doesn't matter if you're a student, a temporary worker, it doesn't matter, you qualify for child tax as long as you've been here for 18 months, file your previous tax return, and then the money that in your account like clockwork. Clockwork. So that is something that you can look forward to as well when you're thinking about like your future, like coming to Canada as an immigrant. When you come on a 2-year study permit of 18 months after being here, you can start get that extra income. If you come on a 1-year permit, I'm sorry guys, unless you extend that to a postgrad or something, you might not necessarily be qualified immediately, but that also depends on your unique circumstances.
Okay. Yeah.
That depends on your own unique circumstances, right? As usual, guys, we're not going to be able to touch on every single aspect of every single thing. So just leave a comment if you have any question about child tax. If you have any question about living in Alberta. If you guys have any question about our concern coming to Canada as a new immigrant, leave a comment right down below. Please don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share the video, and all of the good things them. Alright, that's how we have to say this. Big up on yourself. Until the next video, remember to keep safe, take care of one another, love one another, and peace out.